Welcome one, welcome all. It is Big Ten championship window right now. If you saw the SEC game, you saw Alabama get dominated by Georgia. And if you were fortunate enough to catch the Texas Tech victory too and did nothing all day like me, you got to watch all the games. And unfortunately, the only one I care about is Ohio State. So I'll be missing the first half of that one. Hopefully, it's just an Ohio State route like last week when Ohio State routed Felix's. That felt great. We had a good time last week, Felix. Hope everything went well for you over the weekend, man. How are you doing? Former Millie Maker winner, Felix.
Yes. Everything's great, man. Yeah. We had the wonderful college football games going on right now. We have a UFC 323 going on. Macy Barber putting the beat down on Korean Silva right now. So should be another good day of talking some football while we're at it.
Yeah, I forgot to reserve because I saw it was a Marab card, and I was like, oh, I missed my chance to lock Marab,
dude,
right?
Yeah, I love locking Marab. Yeah.
I think someone told me that he shot like 49 takedowns last fight or something like that.
Yeah.
Just for DK scoring, they almost got to fix it just for him. It was just absolutely absurd. But it should be a good time, man. A lot of action tonight. We'll try and be quick with this one. Hopefully keep it to just over an hour for those watching at home. Yeah, of course you're watching at home, but those watching in the morning or something like that leading up to the NFL lock. Felix, last week you were on top of it. You said it was just
we were both on top of it. It was a terrible slate though. We were right.
Hilariously, Mason Tipton made my team. My main team.
No, oh, really?
Yeah, it was funny because I was debating between A.D. Mitchell, Devon Vele, and then it was Tipton, who was Stone Man, right? Yeah. So I had to go to Tipton. If I had the extra 500, I would have gone to A.D. Mitchell, but it cashed. It crushed even because I ended up going with Bijan and stuff. It just shows though in those type of weeks, it just takes a couple players to really side a little bit. And Devin Neal, his prop hit, his receiving prop, 22 yards in the air there,
one catch.
And then that was the last guy. I think it was like the second to last drive they had. A nice jump off, and he made it.
I was a little worried. I was sweating now, and I'm like, oh come on, man! Like this is the one I was like 100% sure on.
Well, it was funny because you had that chance to sweat. I never saw Taysom Hill. He ran a lot of routes, to be honest, but he did not line him up in that backfield as much as I thought they would, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
Another week here, a much better week, I should add. Right, we had a good Thursday game. It was a great Thursday game. Lions Cowboys. We will start off with a few banger games here. I know the Titans and Browns can wait, but you got the Bengals, Bills, Colts, Jags. Even throwing the Seahawks in that mix with the super high total should be a great time. Felix, let's go ahead and dive right into it with the Colts taking on the Jaguars. Jonathan Taylor, it's been a few weeks since we've really had any success with him, right? Like he's just been kind of middling for the most part. Daniel Jones has been middling. This Colts offense overall has kind of stalled a little bit after their amazing start to the year. You still get Tyler Warren and Michael Pittman at decent prices today. The one way to attack the Jags has been through the air. And, this could be a nice slate. And one thing I want to address before we even talked about like this stuff, quarterback pricing is way down this week once again. Yeah. So it's like, $6,200 for Daniel Jones may seem like, oh, that's fair. It's like a top 5 on the slate in pricing. Like Josh Allen's 7-7 in his own stratosphere. Yeah. There's a lot of quarterbacks this week below 6K in that Trevor Lawrence range at 5,400. What are you doing with this game, man?
I'm actually going to be playing a little bit of our boy JT. I think it's going to be a bounce back game. I think they've had some tough matchups lately. Not to say that Jags aren't even like an easier matchup, so to speak, but I think it's going to be a closer game. Defense is a little bit weaker than they've been facing lately. I think they're going to rely on the run game, and I'm going to be matching. And with the Daniel Jones fibula fracture, I'm going to be mixing quite a bit of. It's going to be like little mini stacks with our boy, the tight end Warren. I can't think of his first name. But yes.
Tyler Warren, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Tyler Warren, yeah. I'm gonna be mixing him a bunch in with my lineups, and then bringing it back with the Jacoby Myers because he's been popping off. But the quarterbacks, I'm kind of staying away from.
Yeah, so it's funny because with Brian Thomas back, right? We thought maybe what's this wide receiver room going to look like, and it's still. Trevor Lawrence must just hate Brian Thomas. That's the only place I kind of get to it. Like,
I don't think he fits the scheme. I think that's the problem. I think it's scheme fit.
It has to be because we saw the talent at LSU. We saw the talent with Mac Jones, and then this year it's a drastic drop off for the most part. And Jacoby Myers, was it back-to-back weeks where he had a touchdown? Because he had a touchdown last week, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Brian Thomas Jr. traded to the Jets here.
That would probably be a good fit for them. I mean, it would pair with Garrett Wilson, especially too. I would be.
Then have AD Mitchell as a 3. They don't get much better than that if you can get that trade done.
Yeah, and then you get some stray quarterback to run it back for a year.
Yeah, what's the guy that's playing in the Ohio State game right now? The other side of it,
Carnell Tate right now. Yeah. I love Carnell Tate. Oh, you're talking about Mendoza?
Yeah, Mendoza. Yeah. The Jets are going to draft Mendoza and waste his talent.
There might not be a ton of talent there. No, I like Mendoza. I'll say it. I don't know if there's a top tier quarterback worth drafting. But Jacoby Myers last week was 6 targets, 6 for 90, 6 for 50 and 1 the week before. So back-to-back games with a touchdown. Brian Thomas, I think he only had 3 targets last week as well.
Yeah, it's pretty pedestrian. Pretty pedestrian.
And you called Brenton Strange too. I mean, Brenton Strange, being a factor there, 3,900. We've been wanting to target the Colts because they have been so weak defensively for fantasy points over the recent weeks. It's just the mental block of me trusting Trevor Lawrence. And I watched that game against the Cardinals a couple weeks ago, and my only thought was, damn, this dude is not it. He's just not it. They want to run ETN, but you still have to deal with Tootin there. This is where I'm just kind of like middling on the Jags because I really want to attack the Colts. But then again, it means I have to trust Trevor Lawrence. And honestly, I think I'm done doing that this year.
I'm with you, but I think there is a little bit of a connection with Jacoby Myers and Brenton Strange. So if you do want to play Trevor Lawrence, the best stacking options with Trevor Lawrence are Jacoby Myers and Brenton Strange. And I just don't think to attack the Colts is through the tight end play, but Strange is like one of his favorite targets. So you might get a plus side, play out of him.
Yeah, 3 for 45 and 1 last week from Strange. I think those were the 2 guys that I could trust to kind of stack with. Obviously, Parker Washington kind of went by the wayside too, 1 for 26. And the route's kind of a slight mess for the most part there, right? Like it's just like a little bit uncertain. But I think I can trust Myers and Strange outside of Parker and Brian Thomas. And then I think I'm going to trust ETN. I don't.
They've been like mixing in Tootin a lot too much, and even like a smidge of the Quentin Allen. I think it's just hard to play them all.
Yep. It's almost a 3-way split, right? Like it's not quite it's like a 2.25, but it's enough to be scared of. I think Tootin ran a touchdown in last week too, where he had 8 for 17, 8 carries to ETN's 12. ETN's going to be a slightly larger factor in the pass game, but yeah, I mean, like you said, I think the Colts offense. I think another week where I'm going to kind of be a little bit out in Jonathan Taylor, which. I mean, it kind of sucks. He's the offensive player of the year, potential MVP, but it's at the end of the day, it's 9,300 for a guy who's not exactly hyperactive in the pass game. He's not going to kill you with like 10 catches, right? Yeah,
this could be a 3-touchdown game though, because that's the issue where you say, oh, we can't pay for it, but he has that upside. He hasn't done it in a few weeks. To attack this pressure to attack this team, it's through the run game. That's the only reason I can say it. But it could easily be Tyler Warren running those tush pushes in.
Yeah, if I saw Jonathan Taylor line up in the backfield 3 times after fading him, I'm going to be so disappointed. But and that's the thing too. I wanted to be interested in Daniel Jones, but 6,200. It's a little high on this slate. It's a little high on this slate. And I don't think I'm going to do that with how pedestrian he has been. I don't think he's eclipsed 16 fantasy points or 17 fantasy points in the last 3 starts or something like that. Before that, he was kind of a 20 machine. I get that. Like it's just Colts offense trending slightly down at the moment. Speaking of offenses that never trended to begin with, the Titans and Browns are facing off against one another. Shedeur has been, very pedestrian by any standards at all. They scored 7 points last week against the 49ers. I think that was with an early touchdown too, if I'm not mistaken. I made it a point last week. They scored 8 points. That's what it was. I made it a point last week to trust the 49ers defense. It came through slightly, but when you trust the defense too much, you have a team put up 30 fantasy points. I believe that was the Seahawks, right? That was the Brosmer slate last week, right?
Yeah.
So you never want to trust the defense too much because of how varied it is, but this is a week that at 2,900, I will be going against Shedeur yet again. And for the exact same reasons against Cam Ward, 3,700, two quarterbacks where Shedeur is unproven at this point and Cam Ward has no help. And this Titans offense has been absolutely abysmal.
Yeah.
They made the Jags defense look incredible last week. Cam Ward took 3 sacks. To his credit, he didn't turn the ball over once. They did have 2 fumbles, but that's about it. Browns defense. Last week I misspoke. I said that they weren't elite. They are. The Browns defense is elite. I don't know why I said they weren't, but they are definitely elite. This is a spot where you can play Judkins, but it's the same situation with Judkins. You're going to get 20 touches. I don't think there's a doubt about that. It's just you're banking on touchdowns at 6,400. There is a world where if he scores and gets 100 yards, he's still not in the winner at 6,400, right? That's always my issue with a guy who's not going to catch any passes really out of the backfield.
Yeah.
But he's not a bad play. Like, don't get me wrong. If you're playing Judkins with the Browns defense, I'm not going to be like, oh, you're terrible. No, I would just make sure that you're going to be a little bit, have a little bit of variance elsewhere.
He's the play the field kind of guy. He's not somebody you want to be overweight to because he's probably not going to burn the slate. He's not someone that you want to really fade because he will get there. It's just like he's not going to hit the ceiling of all ceilings. This defense isn't that great, right? And honestly, I wouldn't mind playing an anytime touchdown with Quinshon Judkins because I feel like this Brown defense is going to set him up for a pretty good field position. So, and clearly they don't like Shedeur near the end zone. They want to bring in Quinshon Judkins for Wildcats and short yardage plays. So
yeah, they did do that last week a little bit. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It was definitely a little bit where they wanted to add the extra blocker in the box or whatever, to take the extra man away from the box with Shedeur, moving to the outside.
But I love playing defenses that are going to go against these terrible quarterbacks. But 20% ownership on a defense, I'm probably going to be fading. And find the variant, like we talked about, variant pieces elsewhere.
Yeah, it's going to be a popular path without a doubt, right? And again, this is a Titans team that scored 3 points last week against the Jags. The 24 against the Seahawks. What is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas, right? It's just I just don't know how they score more than 2 touchdowns. That's my issue. That's just my issue here. It's just damn. I just don't know. If I want to look at another thing too, I just wanted to look at the Browns real quick. And I'm not trying to make the case for any offensive players. I just hate leaving without even a prop that I'm committed on or anything like that. But let's go ahead and look at targets for who Shedeur has been looking at the most. Last week it was spread around pretty evenly. But you did have Fannin 3 for 43 and 1 last week on 5 targets, which led the team. It's that rookie connection a little bit. Fannin, we both love Fannin, right? About that. 4 for 40 the week before, 6 targets led the team. If there was one guy I could even talk about, again, he's even going to be just under 10%. Fannin would be the only skill player I think I'm interested in outside of Judkins in this matchup, Felix.
I agree. Yeah. He does target Fannin. He doesn't have a big arm. Does Shedeur. So you want to target the closer targets. Jerry Jeudy, unfortunately, he plays some, but did he burn his book with Shedeur with that weird fumble? I'd play the tight ends, and I don't know, is Njoku not playing or is he just not targeting him at all?
I don't see Njoku. Yeah,
Njoku.
Holy cow! Let's look at the routes last week. That is incredible to me. Hold on.
Yeah, was there a flippening? I just didn't know. I watched, but I didn't realize it was that big of a flip.
Quite honest, I don't watch the Browns.
I watch, but I don't really watch that closely on bad teams.
I don't see anything that I don't see anything that would say that Njoku, and I could be
big
wrong.
Disparity. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's just, I guess, wow, I didn't realize that. Njoku projected and everything, and it's one of the lowest projections you've ever seen anyone. Yeah,
I'll trust Saber on that one.
Just 11 routes last week, man, compared to 28 for Fannin. Fannin led even routes too, so very, very interesting.
Yeah,
that makes me a little bit more in on Fannin than I originally was. All right, Bills down 2 of their top pass rushers and an already weak front D line. And Chase Brown has been an 18-plus machine in fantasy as well. You got Joe Burrow back in the mix, looked a little bit rusty to start things out against the Ravens and then kind of dialed it in late. Jamar Chase with no concern, shouldn't spit at anyone today, shouldn't get ejected. He never spit anyway. That was all AI generated.
Yeah. He would never. He would spit in his face if he could.
Oh, yeah, exactly. He would have done it. Yeah, I take his word for it. The big news is Dalton Kincaid being questionable. And again, as always with this show, it would not shock me at all if all of a sudden Schefter tweeted out what Kincaid's status was while we're talking about this game. Kincaid, if he was in, though, I would be all over him in this spot. We know that outside of Shakir, I mean, even with Shakir in, Kincaid was kind of the number one, receiving threat for this team. And then you have Brandon Cooks added to the mix too. So it's like one of those things where I don't really know what to do with the Bills wide receivers outside of Shakir. But again, a lot of people are sitting here, oh, look at the Bengals defense, right? I'm a Bengals fan, and those who watch know, but
I think it's coming around.
I don't at all. And I really don't. And this is the thing. They're still playing Geno stuff. They're still playing rookie linebackers. And Isaiah likely fumbled like an absolute buffoon there, reaching out for no reason at all when he's gonna fall into the end zone. I had Isaiah likely captain, by the way. I was so pissed.
Well, yeah, he's on my best team.
He's on my best team too. I was mad. All right?
So was I.
I'm a Bengals fan. I'm like sitting there, like, dude, just fall into the end. I assumed that we were gonna lose anyway. I'm not the loser. I don't think we're going to the playoffs either.
Yeah, I do. I see it. I see the path.
I mean, you're the one wearing the Bengals jersey, which is crazy. Yeah. Right? That's the craziest part here as a Chargers guy. But also, Derrick Henry on that first drive absolutely just ran him over too.
That's true, man.
I'm 100% convinced that Lamar is not healthy at all. Like
I'm in the same boat. Yeah.
And the Bengals defense, like, oh man, they only gave up 14 to the Ravens. Like, honestly, like
it should have been like 28 with a couple of those turnovers as well. So.
Lamar ate a few sacks, had an interception there, and they didn't really run the ball at all. And Zay Flowers got called for a push off. It easily could have been another 30-point game, right? Go to the Patriots game. That was one game where the Patriots, I think Will Campbell got hurt in that game or something like that. And Hunter Henry killed him. Travion Henderson was very mediocre. They had to kick a lot of field goals in that game too. I don't think that this defense is improved. But now you're kind of having this Bills team that, if it's not Shakir and Kincaid is out, who is it? Is it just James Cook? What was the theme last week, Felix? It was just run the ball a billion times. And I really wanted to attack, Gabe Davis, for example, at 3,300.
He's just not performing. I as big of a Gabe Davis guy I am. It's just hard to. I'm going to play him again because it's me. But he's just not getting there.
Dawson Knox led the team in routes in 19. You know who also led the team in routes? Gabe Davis with 19.
Yeah.
All right. That was with Brandon Cooks in the mix. Khalil Shakir ran 14, for example. Brandon Cooks 10. Keon Coleman 13. All right. Anyone else that's below that, like Shavers and stuff, I'm not going to care about, even though Shavers was right next to him at 9. Those are like the three guys, and Kincaid being back, well, he would hurt Knox the most, and Jackson Halls probably wouldn't run many routes at all. It's been Price. It's almost been Price, I should say, against the Bengals defense that I think is going to give up 30 tomorrow. And
I think it's going to be a shootout. I think the Bengals are going to bring it back though, and that's why I'm excited.
It is going to be a shootout.
I think the Bengals are going to squeak it in. I think it's going to be like they're going to go for 2 at the last second, and they're going to take the game.
I like Brandon Cooks. All right, and I know a lot of people are going to hear that and be like, "What the hell? He's liking a sub 1%." I get it. All right, this is the Millie Show. If I am stacking up Josh Allen, and again, what did I say to start the show? Quarterback is really, really cheap, except for one guy. That one guy is Josh Allen, right? That's just the one guy who at the quarterback position is not cheap. And if I want to play him, and I think the Bills are going to score 35, you bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to be clicking his name with some cheap wide receivers to try and make things work and find the nuke, right? Gabe Davis could easily have a 2-touchdown game, Felix, right? If he's running 19 routes, let's say they drop back 35 times tomorrow. Gabe Davis, I could see 25 plus at no ownership. Brandon Cooks, maybe not so much, right? But I would love Kincaid, and I'm mixing them in, right? Because look at the quarterback position again. 800 cheaper is Matthew Stafford. You go all the way down. Top 5 quarterbacks, 6,200 is 5th. All right, 7,700 leads the way. And then you have some very strong projections at like 5K and stuff. The way I kind of want to make Josh Allen work is by overstacking. I know that I'm not, again, what was it, 2 weeks ago when he scored 47 or 3 weeks ago?
It didn't need a single soul. Yeah.
Didn't need one. It still wasn't in the Millie winner. But
no, he wasn't he?
He was not in the Millie winner. It was Jacoby.
Oh,
Brissett.
No, he was Jacoby Brissett with the full stack. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that's my take on the Bills is I'm going to get weird, right? I'm going to play all the Bills. Am I speaking, out of line there? No, not at all. It's the Bills against the Bengals, the highest team total. But again, not a lot of people are going to click on anyone outside of James Cook and outside of Josh Allen. I'm going to make it a point to get these skill players and hope that Josh Allen doesn't run in for himself or James Cook doesn't run in for himself, and that touchdowns go to some of these fringe guys at a super cheap tag, Felix.
Yeah, I would let's get to this comment over here. I would get to Cook in cash for sure. Like that's 100% cash in my books, but you could play it. If you're going to try to get every combination of this game, which I think it was like 4 years ago. This is the Week 17 matchup that everybody was like excited for, and obviously something happened. But I had 100%, that game matchup in all my best ball teams finals. So I'm hoping I'm going to do it. I'll probably say 80% of my lineups are going to have a Bill or a Bengal in my lineups this week. I'm pretty excited about this game. I think I'm going to be playing a lot of Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase lineups. I think in important games he does target his guy. I am also going to be doing a lot of just solo Josh Allen's with Jamar Chase and Chase Brown, and a 2 versus a naked quarterback with finding other pieces around the thing. But I am excited about this game. Excited that T's back. I think this game could be the highest scoring game. It's going to be the game that you need to have had in your lineup for the million. I can guarantee there's going to be something a part of this game that's going to be in the Million Maker winning lineup, and you're going to want a piece of it for sure. And I'm going to sprinkle in a little bit of everything.
One more thing to note: Chase Brown did well last week. Okay,
yeah.
Samaj P. Ryan played a ton.
Yeah, he did.
Played a ton. If there was a guy who I think could slightly fall off in performance at 6,700, who I think might get a little higher ownership than that. I think it might be around the 10 range. Because I do think a lot of people might see this game and, try and get a piece from it at the very least. Chase Brown is one guy might be just slightly under on. I'm with you, though. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow. That's the path.
Yeah, and oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I talked up Gesicki the last couple of weeks, and last week they deferred to a lot of true 3 wide receiver sets, and Tanner Hudson even caught a touchdown, right, who's a tight end. And they went to a lot of Tinsley and Yoshivas and Chase. I think that they're just going to kind of continue that. Gesicki's not going to be running that primary slot role anymore.
The last time they faced the Bills, they did attack it with tight ends. I don't remember who the tight end was back then, but they did go attack it with tight end early in that game.
Hayden Hurst.
Yeah. And so we could see, it could be anybody. I really do think this is like pick your option of how you want to play it, Bills and Bengals, and let's just see what the best thing outcome is. I do think that when the games get tough, they're more important. Josh Allen does typically run more. He doesn't look as clean as he has in previous years. Maybe there's an injury he's not disclosing, but I do think in games like this where he has to get up for it, he does try to do a little extra, which could lead to more turnovers. You could even play the Bengals defense. I think I might be a terrible call, but I do think he tries to extend things when games get important, and he does sometimes make mistakes.
Yeah, I am with you there without a doubt. And yes, Pilau, you're 100% right. I think they have one of the bottom 4 rush defenses in the NFL in terms of yards given up per game. 100% though. You're exactly right. Seahawks taking on the Falcons. Seahawks with a great total here. The Falcons defense has definitely turned for the worse over the latter half of this season. Jackson Smith and Jigba let a lot of people down last week in cash. That was part of the reason why the cash line was so low in some tournaments and stuff was him underwhelming. Bijan looked great last week. Kenneth Walker, he had some good volume early on. Charbonnet can obviously be a factor in the red zone, though, as we see. And then Darnold, only 5,500 as well. Felix, I don't get excited about this one, but I have to respect it a little bit, right? Like at the same time, like Seahawks team who has lit it up already on multiple occasions this season. I know that the Shaheed and Cup thing, has kind of hindered both guys, for worse.
Yeah.
You're a Cup guy, though, at 4,100.
I just pulled up the career stats, Rashid Shaheed versus the Falcons, and it's not too bad.
I mean, yeah, it had to be fun in New Orleans, before the knee injuries, right? Like it just had to be good.
395, 3 for 65, and 8 for 83 against the Falcons.
I like that.
Yeah.
I could be slightly convinced. You know what? I think I'm going to kind of defer more toward the Bills guys rather than one of these cheaper Seahawks. And if I do play Darnold, it would be more with what's the word, Barner, who's too cheap at 3,200, by the way.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, which is way too cheap there. And then, with Barner and Pitts and then Jackson Smith and Jigba, that would be kind of my preferred stack. Bijan obviously in the mix as well. And then outside of those guys, I'm not going to trust Darnell Mooney with noodle arm Cousins thrown to him. I don't really like playing Walker at 5,600 with that split backfield the way it is. I know he's going to get a little bit of ownership. It's just not the way I really want to go here, Felix. What do you think?
I'm on the same boat as you. I'm also I'm not opposed to playing the Seahawks. I don't mind chasing the points here with the Seahawks D again. And it's looking like they're not going to get any ownership after going for 30 last week. I think they could run it back against this future offense. And Kirk Cousins has shown the only way like they're just gonna have to hand it off because they're not gonna be able to accumulate anything unless they give it to Bijan.
That's what it feels like. And they obviously nuked, or Bijan obviously nuked last week. If you look at it, what was the Jets matchup, right?
Yeah.
I think he had almost 100 yards in the first half total, combined yards and stuff. 142 yards total on the ground, and obviously 5 for 51 through the air. Pitts was the guy who 7 for 82 through the air. Tyrod got the job done late, but 24 points for them. And it is very hyper-focused to just basically 3 guys if you want to include Mooney. But even outside of that, Pitts definitely has Cousins respect, just because he can't throw it anywhere else, right? It's just in that slot. So when Pitts is running out the slot at 4,200, again, I know we all get frustrated over the years with Pitts, but, it's tough for Cousins to get the ball outside the numbers. And Pitts is always lining up in the slot, basically. It's why he has been, pretty good in recent weeks.
Yeah, I agree. Pitts being more involved has been nice. I've been playing him a lot lately, and it's been nothing spectacular, but he has been involved. So maybe he has a touchdown regression week. But I do think it's another Seattle domination, and I think they try to get JSN back on track after a lackluster week last week. After I 100%ed him in the few lineups that I did play, so that was my big fall last week.
I know stars definitely don't care about this, but JSN could be easily a factor if Jonathan Taylor keeps on slightly underwhelming.
Yeah,
finishes off the season strong for a potential.
Yeah, and with how bad this pass defense has been lately, I know you were loving it early in the season, but they have fallen off quickly.
100%. Just the 4 guys, basically. Like Pitts, Darnold, or Pitts, Robinson, Smith and Jigba, Barner, and then Darnold if you want to stack it.
Correct.
Dolphins taking on the Jets. A-Chain had another great game last week. 8,800 though. We're finally getting up there with A-Chain. But previous weeks it feels like he was always 7K or something.
Even 6,700 or something. Yeah.
Just an absolute joke for price, and finally they kind of get him into an area where it's debatable at the very least. And
correct. Yeah.
My thing with the Dolphins is it almost feels like they want to use a lot of running backs, right? You have Jalen Wright, you've had Ollie Gordon. Last week was a pretty nutted spot, 22 for 134. Wright and Ollie Gordon only combined for 6 carries. A-Chain, that was the only game I've ever seen where he didn't get a catch. I can't remember the last time he did that in his career when he's been the main guy. Week before that, 21 carries, 120 yards, 9 carries for Ollie Gordon, 1 for Jalen, right? A-Chain was more involved in the pass game, 5 for 45. The big thing to note is the Saints didn't put up an effort until the fourth quarter, basically. So they didn't really have to throw the ball. So the floor is still going to be there for the most part. While in Breece Hall's case, they were chasing that game almost the entire fourth quarter, if I remember right. A.D. Mitchell had a big fourth quarter there. Yeah, they scored 20 in the second half alone. And Breece Hall, it's kind of the thing where the volume's probably going to be there, right? There was no other running back who got a carry last week. 1968 and 1. Isaiah Davis did have a target, but Breece Hall went for 2 for 8. And they're both good plays. They both headline these plays. I think I'm going to go to Waddle where he's not going to be chalk and hope that Tua can kind of sling it. Because, again, I don't respect this Jets defense at all. I want pieces from it, and outside of those three guys, though. Oh, and then AD Mitchell and Mechie. I mean, they're going to be fine. I guess it's a little bit better than I thought initially. What do you think?
There's some pieces here. But it's like it's a divisional game with they usually, they have some good spats, but not usually shootouts. But I could see full stacking the Dolphins getting a full stack there and then bringing it back with an AD Mitchell. And I don't know. I kind of like the Dolphins. They're kind of spunky the last few weeks where they're on a bit of win streak here. They're headed towards contention, getting into contention for playoffs. It's more important, I should say, for them to get away with these victories. So if they get up, I could see them trying to slow it down, not trying to find out new pieces, what works, what not. Darren Waller's a touchdown threat lately. He put up 47 yards last week, which is, coming off injury of the last few weeks. And of course, our boy AD Mitchell last week, we did call it a little bit there. So that was exciting. If JSN had stunk me, I would have had a good week myself. But AD Mitchell, I think is viable here. I think he's viable for big plays. He's either going to be an Alec Pierce type where you got your one long bomb, he doesn't get it, it's kind of worthless. But I think this is a spot where it's not the greatest defense. This is another spot where he can get it.
Yeah, and it should be noted when the Dolphins, kind of facing that fourth quarter, Vele went nuclear. For the most part, he ended up being. I want to say he was almost on the winner in FanDuel. He was on my best team on FanDuel. I know that. Yeah. DK wasn't owned much at all, but obviously that's going to be a separate talking point when we talk about the Saints here in a few games. But you're exactly right. It's AD Mitchell is going to have that upside on a week-to-week basis, especially with Tyrod throwing him the ball with 12 targets last week. Will they be in as pass happy of a script? Probably not. But again, I kind of don't respect either defense. The Dolphins defense has been better for the most part, though. I guess that's one thing I kind of want to get out of the way, too, is just they were really bad to start the year, and then they kind of turned slightly formidable, right? Over the last 3 weeks, 17, 13, 13, and then they gave up 28 to a hampered Lamar Jackson. But at the same time, if the Jets offense is slightly turning things around, and these are still good price points to take advantage of. P. Lally, you're right. Tua does.
He sucks.
Struggle. He sucks. He's also ran really awful on touchdown variance, just extremely awful. So I'm using the touchdown variance there and stuff. It's how many 1 yard touchdown runs can they get, or how many times can AJ break a long run? I'm not playing him. I'll be honest, but that's the reason why I kind of slightly trust Jalen Waddle at sub 5% ownership. Yeah. When I still think immensely of his talent. The Jets are not the secondary that we know from last year, 2 years ago, with no DJ Reed, no Sauce Gardner, all this stuff, no Quinn Williams. I think this defense is primed to give up, maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns tomorrow, which in that case, the Dolphins would be great plays. I'll be even with the field on A-Chain. I'll be over on the field with Waddle, and then I'll probably be sprinkling in Mitchell and Mechie run backs. And that's about it. Nothing too complicated.
Yeah, well, now everybody's kind of on the AD Mitchell train. I'm I'll probably be under this week until he flops again, and then
and then go right back.
I'm a flop lag player on Mitchell for sure.
All right, 2 teams that you've probably struggled to trust in recent times, and the Steelers being hell-bent on that. On a classic slate, the only guy, and I'm going to include Warren in this, the only guy I can trust on a week-to-week basis is not Jalen Warren, it's Kenneth Gainwell at 5K. I could see myself barely sprinkling him in and hoping that Aaron Rodgers dumps 6 or 7 balls to him, because we have seen that in the past. And Warren has been splitting time with him. Warren still slightly, has a larger role, but at the same time, it could easily be the hot hand with Gainwell. They've gone to him in the past, like the Bengals game a couple weeks ago. I don't trust anyone else on the Steelers. And Metcalf is a horrible wide receiver 1. People are finally figuring that out. He held back Jackson Smith and Jigba, and now that he's gone, that offense flourishes. It's a shock. And then he arrives to Pittsburgh, and they're even worse than last year somehow. The Ravens side of the ball, I don't think Lamar's healthy. We wanted to attack the Steelers' defense, especially the secondary. Since they moved Jalen Ramsey to safety, it's been a little bit better. They don't even trust Derrick Henry, which I don't get. I thought you would absolutely crush against the Bengals, which he had a decent day, but Felt like he could have ran if they just fed him the ball. They're just not feeding him the ball.
It doesn't make sense. This is last year. Like he don't know why they're not feeding him.
Exactly, and then with like Likely and Andrew, it's gross. This whole game is gross. The Ravens have a good team total. I don't know. I'm kind of out on it, Felix. What do you think?
If White Lightning was playing for this team, I'd be playing some Thielen. I think he got picked up during the middle week, so I don't think he's viable to play. But yeah, a lot of the pieces here. It's gonna be everybody's gonna have like 3 catches for 40 to 50 yards. It's gonna be gross. No one's gonna get really fed. I could see Derrick Henry, rushing for 100 and a touchdown, but at 7,500, is that worth it? No. So, like, Derrick Henry's gonna have the best game out of everybody here. I don't really want anything else. I love Keaton Mitchell, but this is not the kind of game where he usually succeeds in. I think just everything here is kind of bland to me. There'll be pieces occasionally that I put in here. I love Kenneth Gainwell, who's my running back, one on one of my fantasy teams. But I'm not touching the running backs on that side. Yeah, it's just a gross game. I'm not really touching this game that much.
Yeah, it's you'll see Devontae Walker catch a touchdown if he plays Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
And that almost happened last week. I know Zay Flowers almost had that touchdown where he pushed off and clearly extended his arm and shoved his defender out the way.
Clearly.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But yeah, I mean, he's getting to the point now where, again, I didn't like him when he was 20% on, but if he's going to be sub 10%, I might chase it a little bit. But other than that, like, I'm kind of mostly out. Gainwell. I'm going to be over on Gainwell. Real quick, Felix, Bijan, Tyler Warren, or JT and Johnson?
Juwan Johnson?
It cannot be Juwan, can it? Yeah, it has to be Juwan. Okay. I'm going to go with Tyler Warren's side.
I'm going to go JT side. I do think there's a 3-tutty game come inbound. So,
all right, respect. Anything else to add on this game here?
I kind of like the Pittsburgh defense with how lackluster Lamar has looked. TJ might be coming for a few sacks in this game and maybe get a pick to Jalen Ramsey or something.
I respect. Derrick Henry thoughts. I should have crushed last week. Didn't crush.
He should crush this week. I think the Pittsburgh D is one of the worst defenses against the run, so he should crush. But if he doesn't, it's not going to surprise me either.
It's mostly the thing too, where this Pittsburgh defense has been pretty bottom of the barrel in any category, right?
Yeah.
The Bengals are by far the Steelers, by the way, are mid-table in the run game, very much near the bottom in the pass game.
And that's what it was, yeah.
And just had a great first quarter. I loved them last week. CPA, Joe K. They just not enough volume, man. And I mix in Keaton Mitchell. They mix in, at times Justice Hill and stuff too. So it's like just been frustrating. They're just not, working him in. He's not getting involvement in the pass game. He's 7,500. He's got to score twice. And honestly, it just hasn't been the case. And D-Baron, you're right. I mean, Lamar at 3% when he's 1K less than Josh Allen, it does seem crazy in hindsight, but it's like at the same time, it's just he's not healthy. Yeah, it's just not healthy. Washington Commanders taking on 9 from J.J. McCarthy. Jaden Daniels makes his return this week from a dislocated elbow or whatever it was. Jaden Daniels, 6K only. This Vikings team has been a part of some really gross games, and Max Brosmer contributed a lot to that, to a 30-piece for the Seattle Seahawks last week. Great stuff. But, nothing like playing DFS and watching a 30 ball go up. And you don't really have much of that defense. Yeah. Justin Jefferson has to be happy with the upgrade at quarterback. It's like going from a nail in your foot to just stepping on a Lego. It still sucks, but hey, at least it's not a nail through my foot. This game sucks. I don't know how to sugar.
I don't know. I love this game, man. I think it's going to be exciting. I think this is going to be JJ's. Look, this is all or nothing for JJ. Like this is absolutely the worst defense in the league. Absolutely, hands down, one of the worst defenses in the league. I think we can see a Justin Jefferson, JJ deep bomb connection for once this season, and it's going to bring a question. Is JJ back? And it's going to be like, is 9 back? And it's going to be a topic sometime during this week. Maybe I'm delusional for my boy from Michigan, but I can see with how bad this defensive back plays are, I can see it. And Terry McLaurin looked really good last week with Jaden Daniels back. Maybe like this could be a shoot, like an unspoken shootout here with how bad the Washington defense is and how bad there could be a pick six. We're not 100% sure or pick from 9. We're not going to, let that one out. I think this could be an underrated shootout here. I think there's some good pieces on both sides, and Hawkinson is another game where I think he can get to 10 to 15 points. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
So to go with your point here, Commanders 30th in the league against the pass. Can you guess the two teams worse than them in yards given up per game? You probably can.
In the pass?
Yes.
Did we just talk about it with the Steelers?
No, actually, the Steelers are not one of those teams. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Okay. So the Cowboys and 1 second.
Wearing them.
The Bengals. Oh no.
Bengals are the worst team. Their Bengals are 32nd against the pass, 31st against the run. Commanders 30th against the pass, 27th against the run. Just yards per game given up.
Yeah.
You're right. If there was ever a spot for JJ McCarthy to run it back and show us why he was a first-round draft pick, which I don't know how he showed anyone he was to begin with, but to show us why they drafted him in the first round, this game could be the one to do it. And you're getting Justin Jefferson in sub-7 game. I bet Justin Jefferson's prop last week. That was one of our pick 6.
Yeah.
That was the saddest.
It's okay. It's okay.
That was terrible in every sense of it. Max Brosmer was way worse than I could have ever.
He was the worst quarterback I've ever seen.
Let's not forget about Peterman, Nathaniel Peterman. Let's not
on par, man. On par.
It probably rivaled that. I like going against the Commanders' defense a little bit because they have been bad. I will say, Bo Nix did his best. Did his best to make that defense look halfway good. I hate football, man. There isn't it like even the Rams. I think that was the one. I had a terrible shot last week. Yeah, I said the one thing I know for certain is that the Rams are not going to.
I also said there's no way it's going to be double tight end again, and of course that was the winner.
Oh, it's just crazy. And
yeah,
Commanders. They give up 27. They only gave up the game in Madrid. I'm on the throw. 44 against the Lions, 38 against the Seahawks, 28 against the Chiefs, 44 against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I guess I'm with you on the Vikings.
Yeah, 9, baby. Yeah, you're on the 9 train.
It's very, very cheap. So I'll join you hand in hand. If I ran it back with anyone, it would probably be, and you saw the volume with Hurts last week, but now you get Jaden Daniels back in the mix. McLaurin and Debo are probably a little bit too cheap where you can make that stack really work and hope. I mean, look, this game, the total is 44.5 or something like that. If the game has, 52 or 55 points or something like that, this game is super cheap for that type of production there. You know what? I can get on board with that, Felix, no doubt. Saints, Bucks, Tyler Shuck. Didn't look awful last week. I watched that game for the most part.
So did I.
Because I had Tipton.
I was like,
why did I watch that game right now? I had Tipton. And
I was so invested in that game, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had A-Chain too. I like it when I can watch a guy on both sides.
I had Devin Neal. Yeah.
The worst part was doing it with the Cardinals and then wondering why there's 7-minute drive, no points. But look, I think Tyler Shuck loves Devon Vele at 3,700. Vele would be my favorite Saint. Devin Neal, not terrible at 5,100. Hopefully you get more involvement in the passing game, right? Because, 3 catches, 22 yards. But, obviously we've seen, Saints running backs in the past, especially this season, obviously previous seasons and stuff, really explode in the pass game. I still like him at 5,100, Felix, without a doubt. Yeah. I'm out on Olave. I think Tipton's playing every damn snap at 3K. So if you're looking for a stone min guy, it's Mason Tipton.
Yeah.
Look on the other side of the ball with the Bucks. This is a Saints defense that is gettable, right? Like it's not the worst, but it's definitely not great.
Yeah,
it's like we've seen these stacks kind of pay off, but you get Godwin back in the mix. It's not sexy. Bucky Irving's still probably going to split a ton of work. What are you doing with the Bucks here?
So I was going out and making my projections right before the show started, and I was like, I bumped up a couple on Baker. Then I bumped a couple on Chris Godwin. Then I kind of bumped up 1 or 2 for Devin Neal. I'm like, he's going to get a couple more catches than what is projected. And then I was like, I kind of like this game. I pushed down a couple on Melee myself because I really just don't like Melee. Personally, I'm a tipped-in Olave. Every other piece I guess I'm a fan of. But I pushed down on Rachaad White. I think Sean Tucker, great experiment from when Bucky's gone, but this is Bucky's backfield. Now, do you really want to attack the Saints through the run game? So no, I didn't really mess with that projection. So I was like kind of all over the place with this game. I kind of like it, but it's gonna be. It could have points are we having a flop lag game with Taysom Hill where nobody plays Taysom Hill, and this is the week that he goes off? It's a lot up in the air. I think you could get a piece from this in the winner, but it's gonna be hard to figure out what piece is gonna be in the winner.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is single-handedly not have any Taysom Hill this week, right? And then watch him score. It would be the most tilting thing in the world. They didn't get down to the goal line at all, I don't think, last game, but they also didn't really run him in situations that I expected them to run into. So you're exactly right. There's a lot of variables in this game, and there's nothing really that sexy. Buka and Irving, Bucky are going to get a little bit of ownership, it looks like. And I think Vele's the only guy, just because it looked like Tyler Shuck and him had that.
I can see it. Right? I can definitely see it. Yeah. I just don't like Vele as a personal thing.
Yeah, I get that, and it's like at the same time though, it's like, it's a pass funnel, right? You do want to target the pass catchers from any Bucks matchup.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to bet his props tomorrow, just for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Broncos taking on the Raiders. My best impression of Chris Berman. Growing up, NFL 2K5 was my favorite.
Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah, with the helmet?
Yeah. That
dude, I played Bob Sanders every week, man. I was a Bob Sanders fan.
Oh, yeah?
I love playing him.
Right?
Yeah, dude.
Safety, 20.
Yeah, dude. Oh, my God. He was nasty with it, too.
I got it.
He was funny.
So it's funny because I do a lot of I used to collect a lot of football cards and stuff. I have like 4 or 5 Bob Sanders cards that are probably sitting in this room right next to me.
Dude, every time I'd have a ESPN build my own team, Bob Sanders, on my 100% on all my squads, man.
I feel like his injury rating was always bad.
Oh yeah, but when he was healthy, there was nobody better.
I was trying to think, like that's my biggest knowledge of anyone in like the early 2000s or 2000 at all is like just playing with them in video games, especially Bob Sanders. I know because he always played the Manning years, so it's like they were always one of the best teams. So, that's a throwback there, Bob Sanders. God, you make me want to dig into this thing here because I haven't touched those cards since like probably 2005. I organized them. It's a standstill. This is really nerdy, but like back when I was like 8 years old or whatever, I organized them by like their division standings at the time.
Okay.
So it's a still shot of like the Patriots being in first place. The Bengals probably being in that was the Palmer year, so the Bengals were in first in that frame. But anyway, we got DFS to get to. I could go on all day nerding about. You're making me want to go check that.
Dude, I only have one set of cards for the Chargers era, and it was the Quentin Jammer rookie card. And he's my favorite player of all time. So that is like the only card I have. I don't even think they're valuable. I don't think it was like the right set of cards. So
that's the funny part. That's why I wanted to go check them too after this. Yeah. Like, are these even worth anything anymore?
Yeah, like I think I kept it. I still have it. It's like worth probably like 30 cents.
That's good. I'll say this game's not going to be like the last game they played. Denver smashes. Go Sutton. He's on my best ball, 15 million. We got the final best ball week. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was just pulled it up right before this, and there's a league that you and I are both in for 1-2 in the JSU's in 3.
The best part is I really want to know this team. Now. I gotta see it.
That was my Travis Hunter team, and you ripped me for taking Travis Hunter on that show. And I'm barely skipping by with second place. I think JSU's going to overtake me, but I think I can squeak it by.
It does sound like me.
Yeah. That was the first draft of the year for you guys.
Funny. You know what the best part is I kind of got fatigued out a little bit where I didn't do as many as I wanted to. I'm doing the playoff ones as much as I can. While I find this, Felix, talk to me about this game in particular. Bowers got there with touchdowns last week, but didn't get there with volume as much as I would have wanted. Genty, he's going to be in the mix. Man, I hate this game. I hate it. I hate it.
I agree. This is not a sexy game. If you want it, I already on my pick six. I made one before just to grab what I wanted, and I bet the under on the passing game for Geno Smith. I think it's they're even getting healthier, so it's like that doesn't look great. I know they looked a smidge better on offense, not like a lot better, a smidge better, but they still weren't targeting Brock Bowers. They targeted him in the red zone, which is great for us users, but I don't know. Is it enough? 14, he's already projected for that much. 6,000 is a good price for him. He could outperform that. Genty is the only play on the Raiders that I actually do want to play. The way they attack this defense is through the ground game. It's just it's tough to look at just because how bad they have designed this team or this run game. It doesn't really work for Genty right now. But maybe there's been some changes. Who knows? I can see it. But I'm going to have some Bo Nix and Troy Franklin games. I think the Pat Bryant's a little under the weather. I can see Troy Franklin, Courtland Sutton having a better game this week.
Yeah, Sutton got the touchdown there that, what was the end of the first half or something like that last week.
Yeah.
Troy Franklin had, I think the lowest targets he's had in quite some time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's the upside, right? This Raiders secondary is one of the worst in the league. And I can get on board with playing Sutton or Franklin. Bo Nix, we obviously know his rushing upside. I hate double stacking him, but I do like the fact that there's some games where we'll just hyper focus on a guy.
Yeah.
And Franklin has definitely shown that. Sutton has shown that in the past. I guess I can be on that type of thing where it's Franklin or Sutton. Ingram had his best game as a Bronco last game.
Yes.
At 3,400 too. So this secondary is so bad that I guess I do have to pay more attention to Bo Nix. Yeah, this
could be one of those weeks where what we said last week, but the passing game working for the Jets last week. This could be where we just picked one player. Nothing else really kind of matters. We pick one or two players and you just kind of go about your business.
RJ Hart, what pissed me off the most last week more than anything was
he doesn't look good. Am I wrong?
He looks way better than Jaleel McLaughlin. It just made me mad where it's Jaleel McLaughlin's closing out that game. It's what are we doing?
Right.
What are we doing? Why is Jaleel?
I hate Sean Payton. I mean, it's a Chargers fan in me. I hate Sean Payton, but God, he doesn't know he should just run one running back. Use your guy.
It cost them. It did. It cost them greatly when they utilized Jaleel McLaughlin there in the fourth quarter with about 3 minutes to go. They gave him the carries. Then in overtime, who they got the ball to was RJ Harvey.
Yeah,
I like him at 5,700. Raiders, I can't get a beat on, man. Bowers, love him. That's it, right? And then on the Broncos side, I think Harvey should definitely be worth it under 6K to where. What if he does finally get 20 touches in a game, right? And I think this Broncos team scores. That's the issue. I
see him scoring too. Yeah,
but it's they're going to score. And, it is smart to be even with the field on a guy like Harvey. Over the field with the Franklin and Sutton, like you were mentioning. All right. Pat Bryant under the weather.
Yeah, he came up in the middle of the week. He came up on the injury report. I think he was just under the weather, but I don't know. It's just, not a full week of good practice. Yeah, maybe they kind of edge him out a little bit this week.
And
they signed Elijah Moore, which is a little, where sirens going off for me. Was he okay?
Didn't even know he got cut from the Bills.
Yeah,
didn't even know that. That's great. Real quick. I just found a scratch off in my pocket. This is from Thanksgiving. I haven't worn this since Thanksgiving. Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford, Trey McBride, Brissett, Adams, right? So it's the Rams, Cardinals. Cardinals have been extremely pass happy. Tried to establish the rock a little bit more in the first half last week. It went nowhere. Zonovan Knight had a good game, but it's frustrating because it was the Bucs, and they're trying to establish it, and the drives are long. And then one mistake by Brissett trying to force it into Michael Wilson ended up costing him. The big thing, though, Marvin Harrison was doubtful coming into this one. I think he's going to miss. His foot was aggravating him big time. He tried to tough it out. As someone who had a lot of Michael Wilson last week, I was mad at my Ohio State legend that he was gutting it out. But there was a lot of talk in that game about how Michael Wilson's role completely changed with Marvin Harrison being in versus being out. We all saw the production, so it's not surprising. But as the X, he can expect to get way more volume, right? And that's exactly what he's going to be this week is the X receiver, right? So 5,600, Michael Wilson's going to be that guy that we saw 2 or 3 weeks ago and not the low volume guy that we saw 1 week ago. So Michael Wilson is my favorite play in this game, but the ownership is obviously agreeing with that. And it is a Rams matchup that is there. Well, I mean, they just lost to the Panthers, so I can't even say that. But is there a better team in football than them? And I think the answer is no. But when you lose to the Panthers, I guess I can't say that.
I keep hearing like how they're the best team in the league, and like everybody keeps saying it this week, which is so funny because they just lost to the Panthers on the road.
That's the thing. You got to add that side note.
If they're playing at home, they seem to be dominant. At least we know that. It's not a long travel game like I brought up last week. I was like, Panthers play better at home. It's a long trip. They looked a little lethargic. It's not even like the Panthers look good. It was just that they looked a little out of sync. It's just a little bit. And of course, they got all the way down to the one. And you know what they did? They threw it to Devontae Adams. It drives me bonkers. But, I'm going to be playing, Kyron Williams this week. And I'm going to be sprinkling in Blake Corum this week. He looked good last week. If there is a blowout, potentially, Blake Corum will probably get most of the work there. Also, I don't know. I just really don't like to play the Cardinals. I'm a Cardinal hater, apparently. I played Michael Wilson, who's one of your plays of the week last week, so I locked him into my lineups. Burned me once. I'm going to wait until I see it again. So I'm going to be out on Michael Wilson, and Trey McBride's finally priced at $8K, so I'm gonna be a little bit light on our boy T McBride, and I'm probably just going to be one-sided, just onslaughts of the Rams here.
The only issue with the onslaughts of the Rams is,
if I play them,
that's right. So it's like with Puka, his snaps have been down over the last 2 months, right? They've been down. There's no way around it. Okay, so they've been down. He's not running every single route like he has in the past. The volume's even kind of dipped a little bit in the past game, and I always thought it was keeping fresh for the postseason, right? It makes sense. You're a dominant team. Why take the risk with one of the best wide receivers in the NFL who is able to produce week in, week out? Had a great catch last week, right? Then they go down last week, and it's an important game. The 1 seed matters a lot. And they were in prime position. What does he do? Goes for 6 for 72, doesn't light up the slate. He's 8,700. If they got a lead, they have clearly shown that they aren't going to run him 100% of the routes. It's actually going to be more like 67 or 70% of the routes, right? 2/3 of the routes. Devontae Adams has been the guy around the goal line, but the volume outside the goal line is not worth it at 7,700. So you kind of come into this where, okay, those two guys might not be worth it. I can go to Kyron, right? Okay, well, now you're looking at 65% of the carries, right? With a Corum who, outperformed him last week on 7 carries when Kyron got 13.
Yeah.
All these guys had red flags on the Rams in the sense of they're going to score a lot of points. Can they pay off their salary? And I keep coming to this where it's like, I don't think so, Felix. And if I was playing Stafford tomorrow at 6,900, I'm not excited to double stack Adams and Puka. I'm not going to do it at all. If I did play Stafford, it might be with an Adams, and it might be with one of his tight ends. Right? They run a ton of 3 tight end sets.
And Xavier Smith, I didn't realize he had 84 yards receiving. What happened there?
Big catch.
Which one? Was it just one?
No, I think it was a couple catches early on. Because I was tracking that game too, and 3 for 82, a 51.
I was dying last week. I was kind of out of it. So I took a nap during the middle of the week. I had some sickness last weekend, so I didn't watch too much as much as I wanted. But
it is funny in showdown perspective, Dortch being out too. You could get really cute in 5-1 stuff and even 4-2s. But that's why, if I am stacking the Rams up, definitely running back with McBride or a Wilson. I think Wilson though is just. They've clearly shown that 1, they can't run the ball, and 2, they don't have anyone else to throw to, and 3, he had 33 targets in 2 weeks. Yeah. I just think I'm going back to him, Felix.
You probably should, because I'm out on him this week, so you probably should. He's probably going to pop off. I'm probably wrong. I know I'm wrong. I just I'm butthurt that I played him last week. He'd give me nothing.
Let's move on to the Bears and the Packers. Oh, your number 1 seed Bears, 7-point dogs to the Packers. Fucking Bears suck. All right, I'm sorry. I'm being mean. I should edit that out.
Nope. We hate the Packers. We're hating the Packers here.
Yeah, cold weather too. It's going to be really cold.
It's not going to be fun. Yeah, it's not going to be fun.
Yeah, I find it tough to talk about Bears games because I thought the Eagles would kill them. They didn't because Jalen Hurts, right? Jalen Hurts couldn't complete a pass from the beach to the ocean. I don't know, Felix. We get Rome Odunze out with a foot issue, right? At the worst time for us because we love Rome and best ball. I looked at that team.
By Luther Burden on the team we were talking about, he's on that squad. So I'm like, well, it kind of helps out Luther Burden a little bit here. So I'm not terribly mad at it.
And he's only 3,800. Yeah. I've already said that. Well, I think I made a bet with Big T. If they make the playoffs, I'll paint my nails. Caleb Williams.
No!
I'll get it painted. And if they win a playoff game, maybe I'll even I'll get a temporary tattoo that has to last at least a month or something like that. I don't know. I'll think about something. But that's how confident I am that the Bears are horrible. The Packers looked really good last week in the Dome against the Lions, and they were on 10 days rest. So, that matters a little bit too. The Bears being on 9 days rest, I guess. So maybe it doesn't matter as much, but the Black Friday game that they played. Noah Dunze, you mentioned Burden off the rip, DJ Moore, Olamide Zaccheaus. I forgot, he was integral part of my biggest win this year. So shout out Zaccheaus. Even shout out Caleb, even though I hate him. But this is a Bears team that we have already seen big performances put up against them, and they've had some decent performances for them. I don't like the Bears on the road, but I do see the value with Burden, Moore, and Zaccheaus being 3 decent plays individually. And then on the Packers side of the ball, Felix, I like Jacobs at 6,800. We know that the workload has been, off and on at times with Emmanuel Wilson kind of mixing in, but it is finally sub 7K to where I feel like it's a good click. This Bears defense to me is nothing at all. It's nothing to be scared of. The offense is a Trojan horse too. There's just nothing to be scared of. With the Packers situation at wide receiver, they get Jaden Reed back. So that's noteworthy because it kind of mucks up this situation that honestly looked halfway clear, right? Yeah. We had Watson.
It's like Watson's even on the cover of this YouTube thumbnail.
I did that. Yeah, I didn't even realize I did that. I just wanted someone against the Bears. Give me Christian Watson. So, but yeah, that's the path there. And honestly, it's Jacobs and it's the Bears wide receivers for the most part. And then I can be interested in Watson or Dobbs and maybe Love, but it's going to be just cold weather, right? It doesn't impact the scoring as much as wind and rain, but still it's a slight factor when it's, not a dome in a December game in Lambeau.
Yeah. I'm on the same boat as you. My favorite play here is Josh Jacobs. I did Google. I was trying to figure out ways to attack this Bears, and I was like, okay, so I Googled it. It says struggling against pressure, on the defensive line. So that means a lot of clean pockets for Jordan Love. They give up the 30th yards per play in the league. So I'm like, oh, that's a lot of green room for Josh Jacobs. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to probably take a lot of Jacobs and one-off pieces. I don't really love Love here. I think it's going to be a good combination of plays from both the running game and the passing game, which could lower his ceiling. So I'm probably going to go I'm going to go Jacobs and some Watson, sprinkle in my boy Wicks, still not terribly priced. And then we're going to bunch back with Luther Burden so I could fit, naked Josh Allen teams with my Jamar Chase teams.
Yeah, makes sense there. I'm kind of with you. Loveland at 3,200, I guess, too. Yeah, it's just, one of those things. The tight ends are slightly cheaper this week. Where
we talked about Barner,
it's it's nice, right? I'm going to go to the tight ends here real quick, just kind of sum them up. Because I feel like we kind of talked about the tight ends. I didn't really have any true conviction. If Kincaid's in, he's going to be the guy I have conviction on. But Kincaid, Pitts, Strange, we talked about a little bit. You seem to like Jawan just a little bit too at 4K. Yeah. Fannin, with him being tight end number 1 there in Cleveland, and you're leading the team in targets over the last 2 weeks. And then, you kind of get into your Ingram, your Barn. I think you can get a little cute at tight end and get away with it this week.
Yeah.
All right. You know what time it is. time for our plays of the day. Plays of the day here before we sign off on the show. Tanner, I'm going to be out. I'm going to be watching Ohio State. I can't play power forward for you guys on 2K tonight. No, I'm going to be watching Ohio State beat up on Indiana here. So that'll be it. Richie Small Jacobs hasn't had a 100-yard game this season. Well, you always begin by starting something, and that's going to be starting tomorrow, baby. All right, Felix, stalling for us a little bit here.
You're good. You're good.
Do you want to do the low-owned one, too? We can add in
I think I was looking for my owned one, and then I was going to go to...
I stole your thunder. Would you be mad at me if Gabe Davis scored tomorrow and I picked him?
I'm not going to pick him. So if you want to pick him, please pick him, because I would love for him to score. Every time I feel like I pick somebody, they haven't gone off.
I got to look this up real fast. I just got to look up the Kincaid thing. Kincaid is practicing. Because if Kincaid plays, I'm going to be all over Kincaid. So he's in. Is he in?
It looks like it. Yeah.
Huh. The hamstring obviously being a slight issue, but I hope he doesn't re-aggravate data favors. Okay. So I guess I didn't want to give a guy who's not going to be in, but I'm going to go ahead and take the risk. Listed questionable still. All right. Dalton Kincaid, 4,300. If he's active, has a massive day tomorrow against the Bengals, who haven't been able to cover a tight end all season. You've probably seen the stats this week. As anyone knows, they haven't been able to cover anyone except for wide receiver ones this year. My only fear is by picking Gabe Davis is that all of a sudden, you'd have Shakir moving around and Gabe Davis would kind of be given that wide receiver one treatment after running every single route last week, or 19 routes, which is the most on the team last week, along with Dawson Knox. Kincaid and Davis, if he is out, if Kincaid is out, Davis would be that guy for my low-owned play of the day. I think Kincaid just doesn't get ballooned up even when he's rolled in because of the injury uncertainty a little bit there, Felix. And for my regular, if ownership doesn't matter and there's a guy that I got to pick, for a big game, I'm going to go with Michael Wilson at 5,600. Back-to-back weeks, right? When Flop Laggett sucked last week after I picked him. This is the week he gets back on board with no Marvin Harrison. 33 targets the previous 2 weeks when Marvin Harrison was out. So that'll happen once again. Felix.
So I didn't realize that Devin Neal is only projected for 3% ownership right now. Now, you don't want to attack the Bucs by the run, but he's a pass-catching running back, which has done well against the Bucs. So 3% ownership. I love Devin Neal as my low-owned play of the week. And then as my high-owned, or actually, he's not even that highly owned, but like my play of the week that I think is going to go off this week is Justin Jefferson. It's not like I'm blowing anybody's mind here, but at 11% ownership, I feel like that's kind of a steal.
Devin Neal and Justin Jefferson. You know what? No, Justin Jefferson, you're definitely good there, without a doubt. And Mike Wilson's gonna be one of the highest on the slate. Maybe I shouldn't have gave it that one. That Justin Jefferson one is nice for it. I'm gonna be with you, man. I'm gonna be with you. And Pila, we can have fun with JJ. It's gonna be fun, right? If he sucks tomorrow, I can be.
I'm out. Yeah, I'm officially out. If he does not come through tomorrow, I'm officially out on 9.
Commanders' defense is truly one of the worst in the league, so I like that one a lot. CPA Joe K agrees. All right, pick 6 time, Felix. I got to break it to you. I only got time for like a 4-leg pick 6. All right,
perfect. So maybe we can finally hit one.
So. The SGP that Kurt and I have crafted like the last 6 weeks on the Sunday Night Football show has gotten within 1 leg like 4 times. And last week it was RJ Harvey not getting 80 yards. Right? We had the anytime touchdown for him. We had everything. The best part is most things hit in the first half. And most things always hit in the first half, and we're just oh god, we've even had like a 55s on one almost hit like this. We're getting close. I gotta hit one soon, man. I gotta hit one soon. All right, let's go ahead and get this done, Felix. It's easy to start with our plays of the day, right?
Yeah.
It kind of is, and I already told you what I would be doing. Big T was on the show the last time too, right? I think that I picked Michael Wilson. He didn't like that, right? He said, "No, don't do the yards."
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah.
I'm gonna defy him, and I'm gonna do the yards since he's not on this show. I'm gonna go 69 or more yards tomorrow for Michael Wilson.
I like it. Let's see here what the receiving prop is for our boy Devin Neal. It is.
I like running. I like running the stuff back the week before.
Yeah, I don't care. Like I think he is. I had it earlier. I had
18,
I don't
18 and a half, by the way.
18 and a half. Yeah, then smash that one as how he's going to attack the Bucs.
I like it. Tifton is 17 and a half was staring at me too. I like it. Who was my first one? It was we can't do Kincaid.
There's
gosh, man. Do I really trust Bo Nix? No, I don't want to do that for props. I am going to go to the Buffalo game. I'm going to do it because I think this prop's too low. Gabe Davis, 23 and a half over. If he's going to run that many routes, I just think the Bengals defense will give him at least one catch for a large gain at the very least. Gabe Davis, over 23 and a half receiving yards.
I love it. And then we're betting an under here. 170 yards passing yards for Cam Ward. I'm sorry, but that pass defense and I'm just believing in Myles Garrett just scaring the shit out of this man, and he's not going to get it. Well, we got to make this hit. And I think that's going to be the one that helps us get over the hump.
I love it. 10x. If it hits, we'll give away a $100 Millie ticket the next week. Felix, under on Cam Ward, 170 and a half, more than 18 and a half receiving yards for Devin Neal, more than 23 and a half receiving yards for Gabe Davis, and more than 68 and a half receiving yards for Michael Wilson. Should be a good time. The Ohio State game is about to kick off if it hasn't already in the second half. I'm going to head out and watch that one here, Felix, after they beat the crap out of the Michigan Wolverines last week. No, I had to get that last one. Good luck this week, man. Hopefully you get a few more best ball teams through, and that we can have another sweat by week 17, man.
We'll have to talk about it a little bit next week, just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. We'll start off the show with that one. That'll be a good idea. For Felix and for I, we appreciate y'all for watching. If one of us doesn't win the Millie tomorrow, well, we hope one of y'all watching does. Have a great rest of y'all's day, and bye-bye.